Somehow. I envy.
Nech to ví, ale...
Have a peaceful night.
Jeremy!
Reklama.
What?
You're fired.
What for? Facial sabotage?
Jenny? Problem? I want her fired today, now.
Don't worry, Kath, it'll be all right.
No, it won't be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath. Jenny?
This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
It'll be all right. I'll talk to Buxton.
Oh, good.
2. And after that, at 10:20, Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey returns with a new season of Inspired. His very first guest is popular talent.
I'm sorry, Kath, you're going to have to leave.
At 11:30, it's a double bill with popular transatlantic comedy.
Not letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded me.
10 seconds,
That's all
everybody.
part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so
Going in
high and mighty
5,
and do your job.
4,
You'll have me fired too.
3.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What do you think about all these sanctions?
I doubt it make a lot of difference, Pet. I've lived through 2 world wars and I smoke 40 a day. And if that ain't killed me, I doubt this will either.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
I was wondering if you could tell me what you think of the government.
What? That shower of iridescent pricks? Punishing success and rewarding laziness? They're taking this country down the bloody Swanee. And it's not just me that thinks so. My wife Iris, she agrees.
Over to you, fellas. Global mega corporation Remington's Fist today announced that trials have successfully completed on their groundbreaking male contraceptive product, Responsibility.
The drug has been passed by the government for general release, but the small print warns that, in rare cases, side effects can include blurred vision, enlarged genitalia, and increased risk of stroke. No double entendre intended.
But what do you, the public, think of Sophia Remington's latest venture? Patrick?
What are your thoughts on the new male contraceptive pill?
They're doing that now, are they? I can't see what's wrong with a washable lamb's bladder. It was fine for me and Harold. All 17 of my kids use the same method to this day. And my firstborn even uses the same bladder. So at my age, who cares?
Okay, all right, yeah.
A momentary lapse of reason? Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by controversial protest group Disrupt.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy, but most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
How do you feel about Disrupt?
Ah, well, now you're talking. Ruddy hero, showing us not to take it lying down like Iris here.
So you both feel they're a cause worth supporting?
Well, Iris doesn't speak on mine, but we're pretty sure there's still one in there, aren't we, love? Wherever it is, it loves Disrupt, fighting the oiks for our freedom. And what could possibly be wrong with that?
Do you need me to get you some help?
Build that wall. Divided doctors David Wong and Ingrid Svorsborg-Horgensford today sent an intriguing blueprint to the surface for a simple solution to their increasingly isolationist communities.
In an accompanying statement, the pair reported that the current system of a dotted line painted on the floor has proven unreliable, especially after a few drinks.
But how should we feel about sending construction materials to this disparate community? Patrick Bannon again.
How much help should we give the trapped scientists with their wall?
How much? I'll tell you how much. This much.
Don't hit me!
Right.
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team Membership Cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, vitally, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
I don't really join things as a rule. As Mother always said, membership is mostly for unmentionables, Malcolm.
And finally tonight, back of the net, popular sports personality Johnny Hamsleeves and his fiancée Tiffany Lamour were spotted out today doing a little shopping for what many are already calling the greatest wedding ever.
We can only assume that Tiffany's latest show, My Teenage Secretions, has sold better than expected, as by the looks of things, the whole affair's about to become more expensive than Lil C's shoe collection.
I don't know who that is.
But what should your opinion be of this extravagant display of wealth?
Don't really care, love.
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's National News.
Boom. Čo? Aha. Rýchlo. Koľko bude ešte ten zvučka? Neuveriteľné.
First tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight we have guests from across the continent to discuss the unprecedented situation. For advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard at labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
OK. Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, and we have like some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent.
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, vote thing, yeah? But it's actually the festival of Vysielanie here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, we all had to work our grandparents' glinia whilst the vote was happening, and that's a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like a sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man. It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that... Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. He can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have, serious animal welfare legislation. And, my friend Helga, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker, too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
That's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Christ, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restrictive monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and power outages...
Possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Bjerk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Votovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant Newton hairy bear. When really, he's just standing in field
holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
Oh, reklamy.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
Okay.
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
Aha. Aha. Vládna cenzúra. Asi nie, no.
Are you still meant to bow to foreign royalty?
With these, this is responsibility. The world's first.
Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
What?
Megan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
What the fuck?
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite alright.
Dobre, kto začína? Jednotka.
10 seconds.
So he put that get up on himself. I'm just saying.
Going in 5, 4.
Dúfam, že jednotka. Nikto mi nič nepovie.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand. You
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money.
Cenzúra.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah. Nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah. I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice?
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of a...
Or maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song,
clip.
Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh, no. I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel the elation from your participation. Still 2 leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julius require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes, I don't need your freaky team. And I don't
Nebudem celé vypávať, jebe vám.
my fucking dreams. So don't make make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Yeah, every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention, I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our the best of the praise of the crest of the wave. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens motherfucker.
Nie.
Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job.
Nebudem cenzurovať.
Time to stone a castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the push and the shove ones, the folks that feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones. Ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley. The ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty. The ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same.
Wow, super záber.
Not all the same, all our dreams, all our schemes, all our needs are not the same. And the best of the praise of the crest of the waves. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens motherfucking
yeah.
Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to stone a castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your
Čo si blázen, toto na cenzúru úplne super hudba. A to som nechcel.
Say you hate to go getters, you're spoiling bed getters, and burn them on the powers of advances fucking letters. Gonna take his facts, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to stone a castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, fucking team, and advance his little dances, not as harmless as it seems. Cause they're stale and corrupt, then your anger erupt. Bend your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
Dobrá cenzúra.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Nebolo toľko cenzurovaného. Niečo som pustil von.
Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
Boom.
That's the ad.
Just a reminder, fixing that old VCR.
It's ridiculous.
Last ad break.
Čo? Prečo to dymí?
I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Oh,
you to
trust
leave
me.
it.
My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Prečo to dymilo? Minútu bude reklama, hej? Dvočka som dal novú.
Correct. It's a leap year. Catch the egg. Name that fish.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, stop it.
Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
Megan, Jeremy.
Yes, 4 kamery zas.
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris.
Dúfam, že s kopou cenzúry.
What?
Philippa, please.
We're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a lower order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
OK, konečne mi to niekto povedal. Bolo by super vždy vedieť, na ktorú kameru začíname.
4,
Welcome back. And no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Rayton, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs are akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the
Ten, čo spieval o medveďovi.
I knew that I had a career in theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It's like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris, Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is
Čo mi dali do dvojky?
Two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
Zmenia mi vstupy len tak.
You promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or god-forsaken soap opera.
Nejaký crossfade by to chcelo aspoň.
But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show?
Oh, good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred pass!
And am I right in saying
Super.
This was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer.
Žiaden režisér, čo mi povie.
It was actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale. Yeah.
Which, frankly, would have been a travesty.
Aha, okay.
Jesus Goodness, and you do this every night?
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable, Megan.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt you'll have taken our jobs.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Oh.
Ačko. Kaž. No to bol ten klip. Plnú výplatu som dostal. OK, môže byť. Toto mi je neviem na čo, ale OK. Ukáž. Vláda nič. Odboj plus, šéf. Super, môže byť. Vonku je dosť teplúčko, asi by som mohol zapnúť. Čo? Cool. Bude sa mi vypínať ventilátor. Veľmi dobre. Už mi zobrali telefón.
What, you've got someone to hose down the sun, have you?
Yes, they've just strapped on their wax wings.
Classical illusions, I don't
Nový prehrávač mám.
You know, I genuinely thought you'd be in a better mood today. She's not even here.
Nebudem púšťať vládne kazety. Odmietam.
Who, Andy?
I don't know what the fuck his name is, do I?
He's here to keep
Môže
us
bežať
safe
stále
from people like
snáď.
disrupt.
More like keep us in line. I hate guns. Give me the willies.
10 seconds, everybody.
So we've got any actual real news tonight?
Well, the world's on fire. That good enough for you? Going in 5, 4, 3.
Let's go over to Jeremy Donaldson for the national.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Siege mentality. The World Council today established a military blockade to enforce the unjust and punitive
Čo si mám vybrať? Však to mi nič nepovie.
In a statement from team headquarters a short time ago, Prime Minister Julia Salisbury issued a commanding response to this unprovoked escalation.
Ever since these illegal sanctions were imposed, we have gratefully relied upon trade and aid from our worldwide friends who, like us, refuse to recognise their legitimacy. Today's escalation, however, is nothing short of an act of war. We call upon our international allies to condemn this blockade absolutely, and we warn aggressors to this country that we are neither meek nor defenceless. Thank you.
Taking the plunge? Far be it for us to be cynical, but it's beginning to seem like the wedding of a certain celebrity power couple is more about attention than it is about love. As this leaked photo shows, the naturals of heartthrob Johnny Handsleeves and art snob Tiffany Lamore were far from conventional when they finally tied the knot this week. In a ceremony that left very little to the imagination, the couple are insisting they hold with tradition. Well, as they say, something old, something new. In it to win it, exciting news from Advance today with the announcement of a new monthly prize draw for all team membership card holders. Every month, lucky winners from across the country will be picked at random to receive what Team HQ are describing as unique prizes worth more than money used to be. Take-up on the scheme has been much higher than expected, and if this lucky winner's delighted face is
Čo to vyhrala celofán?
it looks like pretty soon everyone's going to have one. Burning rubber, Sales of condoms have plummeted this month as sales of responsibility soar. Since becoming widely available earlier this year, the male contraceptive pill has become commonplace in the lives of many heterosexual couples, and as a result, many are turning their backs on more traditional prophylactics. Global Health Watchdog has revealed that it's men who are increasingly saying no to the Love Club. The findings have prompted concerns about rises in sexually transmitted infections and a surge of insufferable conversations during one-night stands. Talking things through, a momentous subterranean summit today as the imprisoned intellectuals of Dante's Taint met in what was hailed as a breakthrough for tensions in the tunnels. With no help from the surface forthcoming to maintain the separate factions, the two leaders were forced to meet in order to resolve the dispute once and for all. Photos transmitted to the surface captured the surprising moment that the old rivals met face to face once more. Unfortunately, it seems the pair weren't able to forgive or forget, as reportedly Ingrid is still unhappy with David's standards of statistical significance, while David is angry that Ingrid mispronounced his name. Life during wartime. As if we didn't have enough aggressors on our borders, internal problems are growing for the government as radical activist group Disrupt caused chaos in Parliament Park last night. Scuffles broke out after the protests, resulting in multiple arrests and the injury of 3 community cohesion officers. Advance have yet to comment. The reckless fire will certainly be remembered by all those who have seen these striking images. As their actions escalate, people across the country are asking themselves, who are Disrupt and what exactly do they want? Other than a new box of matches, of course. All this, and I'll be talking to some people with fascinating medical conditions, as well as one of the contenders in this year's Feline Football Championship and her proud owner. That's all up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Ale co sa deje? Kurva. Však. Shit.
But first tonight, our team of correspondents has been dispatched to every corner of the country to see how the people of this great nation of ours are coping with this unprecedented hot weather. First, let's go to Megan Wolf in Shining-on-Sea to see what the scientific community has to say. Megan, how's the weather there?
It's absolutely glorious, Jeremy. Thank you for asking. I'm here with Dr. Anna Burns of the University of Princeford. Are you enjoying the weather as much as I am?
Oh, yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? My eyelids are sweating.
And you're part of a team carrying out a study to just what's causing this unbelievable heat, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we want to be able to reassure the public once and for all that there's absolutely nothing to worry about and that they can enjoy their sunstroke and fossil fuels in peace.
So I'm very confident about that.
Oh, very much so. I can say without any hesitation, there's really no cause for any concern here. I've actually left my car running.
So tell us about this experiment.
Well, we take data from weather stations from all over the world, along with atmospheric samples, and we take all that and we feed it into this state-of-the-art computer, and very soon we'll be getting a high-tech readout of the results.
Blimey, that sounds very fancy.
I should just say, none of this would be possible without the generous support of Remington's Fist. This is all thanks to their unrivaled investment in our future, and may I just say, compliment.
Tak si robíš srandu. No však.
Everything is absolutely fucked. Hang on. This can't be right.
Right, but obviously you said
Neuveriteľné.
But actually under concern level it just says
300 000 vecí človek aby robil.
We should be celebrating these wonderful results, I think.
Yeah, we need to evolve gills within 40
Úplne jak v reálnej strižni.
Here it just says shit.
Look at you. This is meant to be a celebration. Can't go around looking like that. There you go. Much better. Can I just say thank you again to Sophia Remington for providing all of this.
Everyone, we don't have long. Time is running out.
It's running out. Absolutely right. That is all we have time for.
Abandon hope and return to the forest.
Enjoy that. I'd like to thank Dr. Burns for just one opinion on the climate.
The sea will reclaim us all!
Čo? si robíš srandu.
Megan Wolf there, attempting to do some actual news. Next, heads over to Robin Short, who's in Scritchford with some
Neuveriteľné.
of this week's team membership lottery. Robin?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm here in Scritchford with Gary Failsafe, a janitor at the local school, and Amelia Jackhammer, an aspiring poet. Both of you were drawn at random from those who hold team membership cards to receive this week's amazing prize. How do you feel?
Filled with fervent euphoria.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And all that we had to do was fill in a quick form or two.
Wow, that sounds so convenient. But we're all dying to know, what have you won?
That's right, Robin. I've won dinner with...
Yes.
I've been invited to Peter Clement's house to help him dredge the gutter in.
That's absolutely terrific. You must both be over the moon.
I've written a poem about it.
So, can you tell me about the moment when you first heard the news?
Well, I was battling against a particularly difficult floater, probably one of the sixth formers, when the headmaster came and found me.
I was involved in a similarly brutal conflict.
Neuveriteľné.
A particularly arduous stanza.
So you were both polishing
Áno, prečo nie?
No, I don't like to polish them. I like to keep them intact for my collection.
Tak mám málo roboty.
How unexpected.
I don't
OK,
polish
vybavené.
words. I write poetry.
Potato, potato. So Gary...
Ten sa vyzlieka.
Peter Clement's going to let me keep the contents of his downpipe.
There's no harm in asking, I suppose.
Would you like to hear one?
No, thank you. Gary, when you signed up for team membership, was it in hopes of winning the lottery, or were there other reasons?
I like a flutter, of course, but no, the boss said I had to sign up to keep coming into school.
Very sensible. It's important to know who we're trusting around our children.
I have an unpublished book of sonnets about children. Perhaps you'd like to hear one.
No!
Or an anthology of haikus on the death of innocence.
Nic nezahrieva, tak môže byť
Gary's turd
vypnutý.
collection.
Really? I thought you might.
Á, toto sa dá natáčať.
Are you all right?
Yes, it's coming. It's inspiration.
To som nevedel.
Right you are. Right you are.
Today on the show there's no news. Just a man who keeps multiple poos.
Here, this big one's my favourite. See how it's fibrous, really lovely texture.
Would you encourage other people to enter for their chance to win?
Čo to donesol strico?
Take a gander at old Blue Eyes here.
The national news lost its way when it covered some crap on a tray.
Some of these are quite rare.
Maybe that was unfair.
And that's all we have time for today. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Robin. What a lucky pair they are. And finally in this segment, it's over to Patrick Bannon, who's gone to the smelliest town in the country to see how the unprecedented weather is affecting the locals. Patrick?
Hello there, Jeremy. Hello, yes. I'm here live in Grizzleford, which has recently voted the smelliest town in the country. And I have to say that, you know, in this heat, the smell really is. I mean, it's something else. Barry Lardons, mate, you've lived here your whole life. How'd you put up with the stink?
Well, we're just all very proud of our achievement, to be honest with you. You can tell that, look at him, proud as punch. Do you know what it's like, son, being the second smelliest town? No, I don't. Living in the shadow of Arseminster. Those smug fucks. But who's laughing now, eh?
So what, not me, that's for sure. So what happened, mate?
Right, the good people from Willington's Fist came in and saved the day with their factory.
You're talking, of course, about the newly built flour factory.
Yeah, they gave us this big presentation on jobs and growth. But as soon as we heard about the stench, we paid them whatever they wanted to put it here.
Does the stink not affect your...
Ale
It's strong at first, but
Počkaj.
used to it after several weeks of your first bout of sickness. The judges were very impressed.
Nestíham.
So, what's the sickness?
Neuveriteľné.
Nothing to worry about. It takes a few minutes before you develop any symptoms.
Now, folk are saying something about the production line and how they dump carcasses directly into the water main, but I think it's probably the fume valves on the high street.
On the high street? Should I see a doctor? What are the symptoms?
Well, the first one is asking stupid questions. Then folk experience a loss of inhibition.
Fuck off, do they? When was the last time you brushed your teeth, this stinking old tramp?
Next recording is a period of randomly bursting into song, followed immediately by delusions of grandeur.
That's not really a problem, never sung in my life. Hello, it's sexy Patrick Bannon, and he's wearing sexy shorts now. Oh my God, look at me. I'm like a stallion. I'm gorgeous, why didn't you tell me? I should take my shirt off. You know what? I'll even let you touch me if you want.
That will be the bout of undeserved self-confidence.
Love the Bannon, feel the Bannon. Oh man, what's the point?
And the ennui. All that's left now are the hallucinations and unconsciousness.
Nano Dotty? Was that you? Why are you made out of elbows? You know I don't eat opinions.
Tie hračky boli asi lepšie než tento ventilátor.
Don't worry, folks. Once he wakes up, he'll be just fine. We'll just find a place to stick him where it won't matter how many times he evacuates his bowels.
Okay.
Right, that's all here from Grizzleford, a town that's really making a stink.
Zapínaj.
You need to stand back.
Čo?
No, way back.
Čo je?
Who appear to be here purely for medical reasons. Don't go away. Unless, of course, you've got something better to do. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back.
The next guest has some unsuitable opinions for the evening news. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for subversive talk. It would be nice if you could try not to undermine the station tonight. People are starting to notice you now.
Friday.
To tam dám, to je povstalecká kazeta.
Jeremy?
My mic is still.
Povstaleckú kazetu tam musím dať. Teraz beží Bčko, že pôjde Ačko potom. To fakt, čo to je za reklamu?
That's what I'm talking about? Cat football? We should be doing it in
Toto musí vážne obťažovať takýmito vecami.
Even the weather be more fucking relevant than this.
Jeremy, please, just breathe. It's just something.
Zaostri si na trojke.
Exactly, which is wrong. People's minds should be very much on things. Christ, it's so fucking hot.
Please take your seats as quickly as you can.
I can't do this anymore, Jenny.
10 sekúnd.
This is just
10 seconds. Get over yourself, Jeremy. Why don't you stop feeling sorry for yourself for 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News with me, your host, Jeremy Donaldson. Later, we'll be talking to the captain of the territory's first cat football team, Professor Pumpkin. But first, I'm joined by 3 guests with some balmy bodily behaviours. Joining me is a woman who's been hiccuping for over 9 months. Isn't that right, Miss Piercy?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Tell us, what brought all this on?
Well, it's all a bit of a blur, Jeremy, to be totally frank with you. So I was watching your show and I remember seeing the news about the election and it hasn't stopped since.
Fascinating stuff. Also here is Frankie Steampipe. Perhaps you could explain to us exactly what your physiological foreboil is.
I'm here to say it's high time people like me were respected. We're constantly overlooked in the workplace, we're whispered about on buses, and we're asked politely to leave children's birthday parties. And it's disgusting.
What the fuck? Oh, wow.
Sorry, my bowels have comic timing.
And finally, I'm joined by a man who answers every question honestly, even when it isn't aimed at him. How do you cope with that, Mr. Truman?
With a combination of booze, self-hatred, and hardcore pornography.
Is that right?
Not according to my therapist.
Well, in that case, let's speak to Rose. Tell me, how does the hiccuping impact you?
I get shushed a lot, which is hard.
Ježišmaria.
At work, they've asked me to stop answering the phones. It's really affected my confidence.
Well, I find it really fucking irritating.
Do people tend to believe your story?
Fuck no.
Actually, I've been surprised at how much support I've received.
And Frankie, why have you come here today?
Because my wife left me, and I was hoping that the fame would win her back.
We've started a group for people with ailments deemed broadly comical by society. It's called Take Us Seriously.
That's right. And we bloody well mean it.
And who's joined so far?
A bunch of fucking losers.
It's just us so far.
And
Čo si blázon?
have you had?
Well, we've seen some real...
Nechám na jednotke celý čas.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's been a runaway success.
Shit all. Not a single person come to our fun run, and all of our leaflets fell in the canal.
Well, Miss Piercy, some people are saying your condition was actually caused by the shocking events of that night. What do you think?
Come down, Mr. Donaldson, that's absolute rubbish.
What it'd be like to have a pair of tits.
Could you? I'm sorry, it's very hot. What was I thinking?
That you're a team fuck puppet?
No.
Or a sellout cunt?
Apologies. Just a reminder that he can't help it. And hey, if this isn't live television, then what is it?
Fuckfest of propaganda masquerading as journalism.
Right, Frankie, Rose, tell us, how can the viewers get involved with your cause?
Yes, we're holding a sponsored run in Capitoly Park next weekend. It's called the No Smiles 13 Miles.
No, it's called the No Laugh Half. What did I say before the show?
That it was the team pulling Jeremy Donaldson's strings.
No, I didn't say.
Well, we may have to end that there, unfortunately. What a harmless bit of fun.
Steady on! This is exactly what I'm talking about. We demand respect.
Yes, well, later, I'll be talking to Professor Pumpkin. Ginger Tally with a world-class pair of penalty paws. Is that really necessary?
Chcela by to vidieť ľudia.
Go! Not you!
Unhand him at once!
Enough! That's enough!
Wow.
Enough!
What are you doing?
Trying not to piss myself.
Alex,
Don't you dare! Don't you fucking dare cut to the ads before I tell you to. Now, you're in the broadcast centre. Bonesman's little scapegoat. You listen to me. You cut to the ads before I tell you to, and I will kill every single person in this studio. I am thinking about what I'm doing. I've been thinking about it for a long time. We all should be. Christ, it's so fucking hot in here!
Teraz je správny čas na cenzurovanie, hej?
Lottery winners and bloody cat football. We are on the brinks of a siege the likes of which the world hasn't seen in hundreds of years. The enemy is at the gates, and I'm stuck here talking to these three fucking idiots.
I think my hiccups have stopped.
Prestala še štikutať.
Get the fuck out of my studio. Go on, now, go! Before I change my mind. Jenny, lock the doors. Jenny, lock the doors.
Yes, Jeremy.
Now. Good. Yes. Now. Good. Right. You in the broadcast centre. Alex, you listen to me.
Huh?
You pay attention. Now, I'm sure you've already loaded up exactly what you're going to play in the commercial, but today is going to be a little bit different. Look to your right. Yes, really. Look to your right.
Však som tam dal tú kazetu.
And I want you to load it into one of the machines.
Áno.
When I say so, and not before, you play it. You've got about 15 seconds, so I wouldn't waste any time.
No.
Now, all cameras.
Alex, I know I've doubted your competence, but surely even you know better than to play that tape. We don't take orders from armed lunatics. Play a normal advert or there will be consequences.
Shut up.
Oh, but now, we're going to show the other side for it.
Do Ačka som mu nahral.
The good old days. Alex, play the fucking tape. Now, I don't want to hurt any of you. If I see anything I don't like, I will not hesitate to start.
Alex, you're going to get me in trouble with that. Let's hope you made the right call.
We set the system for the third segment. I imagine the ratings are going to be through the roof.
Talk about us on the news. We are disrupt. We are the resistance. It's time you knew the truth. You know advance are lying to you. You know the elderly are not a burden. You know the rich were not all evil. And you know the team membership card is an ID card, no matter what they try to tell you. But why should you trust us? Another faceless organization. A shadowy figure with a distorted voice. You've seen it so many times in the movies. Well, this is not a movie.
My name is Alan James. I used to try and shock people for a living, for entertainment. But now we live in a time where perhaps you need to be shocked. Perhaps we need to wake up. Advance are coming for our freedoms. They are coming for the fruits of our labours. They will take our wealth. They will euthanize our parents and smiling throughout. They will turn our children against us if we voice our concerns. But you don't have to accept it. A great many people already won't. You can resist. You can disrupt. Find us. Talk with us.
No až nebudeme riešiť teraz, ktorú kameru si dať.
It isn't hard. We're everywhere.
This wasn't what I planned. I mean, some of it was. I had a speech, look. But this was unexpected.
So what now, Jeremy?
It was supposed to be your day off.
God, please, don't do any more stupid things today.
How long?
To je úplne interview toto.
How long, Jenny?
We're already live.
Sledovanosť na maxime.
Joining me unexpectedly for what I very much imagine will be my last broadcast are two new guests.
Ukážeme scénu.
Jenny works here at the National Nightly News and is someone I consider, well, a friend. And next to her is, what's your name?
Andy.
Andy's a policeman. Only we don't call him that anymore. He's a community cohesion official.
Officer.
Sorry?
It's community cohesion officer, CCO.
And how's that feel, Andy? Being rebranded?
It's good. It's not about confrontation anymore. You know, the force had its fair share of problems. The team doesn't have as many.
But it still has some.
I couldn't say.
Couldn't or wouldn't?
I don't know what you want me to say.
Christ, you're fucking useless, aren't you? We'll come
Teraz to
back to
nebudem
you later.
pípať.
Jenny?
Teraz je úplne nevhodná situácia na pípanie.
That's perfectly understandable. Who'd want to do this? Jenny, why did you join the National Nightly News team?
I always wanted to work in news.
Yes, but why specifically this program? The National Nightly News.
It was the news everyone trusted. Is. Do you really want to quibble semantics at gunpoint?
Is there something else you'd rather discuss?
Well, there is a great big Alan James-sized elephant in the room you seem to be ignoring.
What do you mean?
I saw your face when that hood came down. You didn't know, did you?
It's about the message, not the messenger.
Like I said, you didn't know.
No, I didn't know. The people I met were with, he wasn't there. I didn't know it was Alan James.
I'm sorry, but seriously, Alan fucking James. You're flushing your life down the toilet for... God, I love you, Jeremy, but...
He's a good speaker. He's popular in the country.
That right?
Look, forget Alan James. There is still something deeply wrong. And you know it, Jenny. And you know it, Andy. And you at home, you know it too. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing a guest who stinks of shit. Patrick is paddling about in shit. And Robin is literally interviewing someone who collects the funds.
Nedávajú za cenzúru postih, takže jebať.
We are sleepwalking our way into
Nebudem cenzurovať s Bohom.
And the news isn't saying anything. We're not saying anything.
Says who? Alan fucking James.
What are all those scientists?
Sledovanosť je aj tak vymaxovaná.
What are they testing underground at Alton?
Ľudia chcú drámu.
Andy, your turn. Make yourself fucking useful. How many people have you brought in for consultations just because they weren't carrying or didn't have team membership cards?
Oh, well, there's other forms of identification that we will accept.
For how long?
We're just here to help.
Then why do you need these? Not really help when it's offered at gunpoint, is it, Andy? Let me demonstrate it for you. Let me help you. You eat these cards with my notes on it, and you'll probably digest a fact. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it, Andy? Knowing a fact?
What? I don't understand.
Do you want my help,
Yes,
Andy?
yes, whatever you say, yes.
Security are here, Jeremy.
Eat it.
What?
Eat the fucking news, Andy, or I'll force it down your fucking throat.
Jeremy, stop.
Go on.
Really?
Eat it. Eat it, you fucking bully.
Jeremy, stop.
They will kill you. Please, don't make me watch that.
Of course. You're right. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. You can put the card down now, Andy. You can go now. You too, Jenny. Fuck off over there. We're nearly done. All cameras on me. This new regime of ours is so seductive. I understand that. But before we all
Dramatický
hand
prestrih.
off our freedoms, should we ask to whom we're handing them over? Don't you want to know what's being done in your name? How many people were transitioned last month? A record high. Again, if you care. Shouldn't someone ask Advance how they plan to deal with this blockade? How many years or months of supplies we have?
Nebudem cenzurovať nič.
These questions instead of whose shit is this? There's a cat backstage dressed as a fucking goalie, for Christ's sake. He's even got the little gloves. Anyway, that's why I arranged for you to see that broadcast in the last break. I didn't know it was going to be him, but I guess that just about sums it up. We are all up Ship Creek with a paddle made of Alan fucking James. Christ, it's all so fucking pointless. I was going to quit tonight. Take a holiday. Try something else. Out of the limelight. Maybe try having a relationship. I hear they're nice. Never tried it. I loved the news. And now, well...
God, Jeremy, don't!
I've tried my best to be honest with you, but this just isn't the news anymore. And I'm sorry. I've lost this fight.
Alex, think of the consequences.
I've let you down.
Please, we can't show this. Cut to the ads.
My name's Jenny Donaldson. Somehow. I envy.
Nech to vidia.
Have a peaceful night.
Jeremy!
Á, reklama. Dobre, tematická reklama. Vyhodia ma. To bolo zaujímavé. Som zvedavý na výplatu. Nemajú meranie na takúto sledovanosť. No, plnú výplatu môže byť. Strižňa.
Your boss. We're expecting deplorables from Disrupt to hack the signal tonight. Perhaps you could leave your personal wives at home and try not to let them ruin the broadcast. Even if you don't care for the government, I assume you understand you have a vested interest in us staying on the air. Stay out of the orange.
Čo orange? Aha, čo to je? Zobrali mi ventilátor. Čo je za mesiac? November. Čo to tu sú za tlačítka nové? To je novinka. No, mám nejaké nové panely mám. Trošku updateovali štúdio. Cool. Audio mixer. Čo to je bublinka? Aha. 20 sekúnd. Toto neviem čo, ale uvidíme snať.
10 seconds, everybody.
OK. Kamera 1.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
It's time to join Megan and the team for the National Night.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Sadly, however, more casualties were reported today, and as the weeks and months of this war make ever more demands on our armed services, those numbers will, tragically, only continue to rise. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time.
Pekne realitu budeme púšťať von.
The coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. However, with the reported rise in mental and physical health issues since the imposition of the blockade, critics have questioned whether those smaller communities which are only now starting to receive help could have been better and quicker served. 7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been declared an overwhelming success. Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. The transition centres have reported larger than expected numbers, but report that they are coping well and able to provide a complete and meaningful service to all who choose to use it. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from Advance. Start me up. Disrupt spokesman Alan James held an impromptu rally today in the northern city of Mankipool. Large crowds gathered to hear the band speaker prove Disrupt are still able to capture the public's imagination. A representative from the Mankipool Community Cohesion Team described the event as mostly peaceful, but it looks like Disrupt aren't going quietly into the night. And finally, absent friends. Sad news today as the grave of former National Nightly News host Jeremy Donaldson is vandalised by radical Disrupt activists. The much-loved broadcaster suffered a very tragic public breakdown 10 weeks ago in an incident which ultimately cost him his life. A passionate and rebellious man, always willing to question authority, Jeremy was posthumously celebrated with a Team Service Award by Advance for his outstanding dedication to journalistic truth. But first this evening, with the war about to enter its 21st punishing week and people hurting up and down the country, I'll be grilling unpredictable Prime Minister Peter Clement in an exclusive interview from his home in London.
4, 3,
That's coming up on tonight's National
1, boom.
2, I'm a little overexcited to announce. I'll be interviewing the one and only Lil C. And later we've got a new feature that's sure to keep you coming back for more. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's speaking to us from his home in Lanfordshire. Good evening, Prime Minister. Have we caught you exercising?
Have we started? Yes, that's right, Miss Wolf. Just a few minor adjustments. I mean, nothing drastic. I haven't joined a gym or anything. As my old mum used to say, just because she won't take it up the shit, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try for a quick fiddle up the car park.
Language, Prime Minister. Language, Prime Minister.
What? Quick fiddle? What's wrong? Oh, shitter. It's shitter, isn't it? Yep, that's the one.
And can you tell us what brought about this new you?
Today, I spoke to the people of Mankleypool, and when I was finished, I stuck around, and I did something I would never have done.
Preladil som.
I listened. I listened to Jean, who told me that although she has financial security for her and her family for the first time in her life, she finds also for the first time that she can no longer sleep peacefully.
Čo to nerobím ja?
Who is preoccupied by the worry of being a burden on his children and counting the days until they sit him down and tell him he is exactly that. I listened to Anna, who spends her lunchtimes in the school cafeteria eating alone because she is the only girl in her class who isn't a go-getter. They have never met, these three, and they are of different ages, social backgrounds, but they share an experience.
Drámy.
They share a nagging feeling that there is something deeply wrong in our utopia. And I share that feeling. And maybe you do too. In the days and weeks ahead, I will be speaking throughout the country, but you don't need to wait for me. Disruptor everywhere. Every bar, every street corner. Look for us and you will find us. You are not alone. And Advance are not the only team.
Oh, yeah. Also, it doesn't seem very advanced to be going abroad when the country is grounded.
And yet, Julia Salisbury announced today that she'll be visiting Svenland during this year's winter break. Is that really an example of team spirit?
What? Did you know about this, Gail?
No one tells me anything, Peter. You should
10 weeks ago, Jeremy Donaldson took control of the national nightly newsroom. He tried to warn us all about the now abandoned top-secret military lab at Grantham Downs. We may never know exactly what was being done there, but Jeremy Donaldson made us look. And this is just one of the reasons he is considered Disrupt's first martyr. And you know what? I think there's every chance he'd hate that. I only met him a few times in a professional context, and usually he exposed me for the grandstanding fool I was back then, but for some reason I always enjoyed it. I liked him. I liked his wit, his jagged edges, and most of all, I liked his total dedication to the truth. He died for that truth, died as an individual, for freedom. And by adorning his resting place with our colours and our emblem, we will help to keep both him and his spirit of relentlessness alive. Rest well, Jeremy.
Čo sa deje hen tam na druhej kamere, ktoré ma zaujímalo tiež.
And you know what?
I will take that as a compliment. Prime Minister, later on this evening, your co-leader Julia Salisbury is going to give a national address from team headquarters. Can you give us a hint of what she's going to say?
Yes. Well, I imagine that there will be
you imagine?
the usual... no, what I mean is...
You do know about this broadcast, don't you, Prime Minister?
Well, I'm sure.
Tak, ale už sa rozhodnite, jak...
But Julia and I have no secrets from each other. We don't memorize each other's bloody diaries either. As my old mum used to say, if you wanted to get a job done quick, don't get bogged down in the pubes. What else you got?
Sorry?
Only cards, what else? A little piece of my life you want to rustle through? Get out, refill my glass. Ta. Ah, come on. Come on.
Okay. What music do you listen to when you work out?
Well, Gail tells me that I work out to Little C, but I have absolutely no fucking idea who that is. And do you think the C stands for...
It stands for collaborative, Prime Minister.
Yeah, actually, that does make more sense, actually.
How's rationing affecting you?
It's hard, but we get by. You just have to learn to get by on the basics. Take comfort in each other. I've got Mrs. C, and many a fine single malt. I want for nothing. Except for a decent night's sleep, of course.
Prime Minister, thank you for joining us. When we come back, it's time for the Culture Spot with Lil C and a world premiere performance of her new song. I genuinely can't wait to hear that. We'll be back after this.
1 minute back, everybody.
Whew.
And that is what happens when you wander from the car.
I don't think he knew about her statement.
I don't think anyone's supposed to know. When you mentioned it, Bozeman's face turned a colour that I think you call embolism.
I'm in trouble.
Bozeman? Nah, you're like the daughter he never had.
Ja mám tu žiadnu kazetu.
The higher-ups might fire him, though.
Who's Lil C?
Well, if there's any justice, me.
Who's Lil C?
Are you winding me up?
What? I'm civilised. I read books.
To ma zaujímať, čo sú za tlačítka. Tu bude asi audio stopa. Aha, no, okej. Umelé potlesky. Haha, bú. Asi niečo také. Dobre, 30 sekúnd.
I've never heard of her before.
Oh, she's big, really.
No a kameru 1. Čo to?
Is she any good?
Nah, of course not. She's dog shit. But kids go mad.
What the fuck?
Absolutely mad.
Live in 10 seconds.
Hang on, Colin, you've got...
Dajte to na live.
Yeah, I've got about 6 or 7, I think.
What?
5, 4, 3.
Thanks for coming back. Later, we have an exciting new feature that we just know you're going to love, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really excited for our next guest. She rose to prominence as the delightful Susie May in All My Daughter's Children's Men, before taking the music industry by storm this year with her debut album smashing the chart records at the age of just 20. Let's give it up and welcome Lil C!
That's the Starflex Network.
I just say, you look incredible.
Oh, thanks, babe. I'm doing this new regime and it really does work.
Ooh, what's the regime?
And my manager suggested it to me. It basically involves bathing in, like, cabbage water and then having the leaves sucked out of you while you sleep.
Wow, is that healthy?
Oh, well, look at me, Meg. The leaves are my only nourishment.
Yep, they certainly are. Now, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm somewhat of a
Môžem dať hoci kedy.
so I'm sorry if I get a bit starstruck.
Oh, bless you. I've never actually heard of you before, so if you do get a little tongue-tied, I can always carry the interview.
Oh, that's good to know. So your first album, F My Face Together, it hit shelves this summer and it just exploded. I mean, what was that like for you?
Bonkers, just so weird. I was in all the papers and the magazines. Overnight, I went from that, like, annoying little girl from that show to that, like, sexy little girl from that show.
Wow, that must have been bizarre.
Not really, it was just like any other morning. You know, get up at 5, go on a 4-mile run, have 3 meetings on my cabbage bath, but then only then was my dad actually talking to me.
Oh, of course. I mean, the famed country singer, Billy Bob Jean Short. I didn't know you'd been estranged.
There's nothing that strange about it, Megan. Okay, yes, he may believe that aliens told him to hate women, but there really isn't anything to prove that he's wrong.
Uh-huh. So, this newfound explosion into your popularity, I mean, did that change your life?
Well, I had to start wearing, like, nicer underwear, you know, for the paparazzi, but as my manager says, best to make the most of it before I'm 30.
Is that right? So what's the album about?
So I thought it was about like how pretty and great I am, but actually it's about monetizing youth, I think, or about like promoting an unrealistic standard of beauty or something.
Your manager again?
Yeah, he says insecurity is an opportunity.
Oh, do you think he'd be happy with you telling us all this?
Telling you all what? It really doesn't matter what I say here. I'll do my dancing and then this part will all be forgotten about.
Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to see some of those famous dance moves very shortly because you're going to be performing your new single, aren't you?
Yep, it's from my album Put It In My A Together and it's out.
Ano.
My friend let her 13-year-old son join the Go-Getters. He's occupied now. Busy, even. His room's never been tidier.
Počkaj, ale ja chcem hudobný klip strihať.
And sometimes she catches him staring at her. And last week, she found him searching through her papers. When confronted, he always had a plausible answer, a good answer. But somehow it's too good. Like it's been prepared in advance. Or possibly by them. We want to know what the news will no longer tell us. And when we find out, we will tell you. We will hack into your news broadcasts. We will defend your right to information. We will resist. And we will disrupt.
Slapped me around the arse. I think things could have been different, like better. But I don't know. I love doing autographs and having somebody dress me and tell me what to wear.
Did you always want to do music?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I'd sit in front of the radio, and as soon as my favourite girl group would come on, I'd press record on my cassette, but then my dad would come in and tell me to turn it off and to go back upstairs and start practising again.
Sorry, is your dad your manager?
Yeah, which can be tough, and sometimes when it gets really hard, he'll say, make Quagler proud and you might just survive childbirth.
Well, you know what, despite anything, you'll make me proud.
Oh, if only your opinion was as valuable as his.
And on that problematic note, you're going to be singing your song for us soon, aren't you? Tell me about it,
So, it's called These Babies Gonna Bring You Home, and I actually got sent the lyrics in the car on the way up here. But you know what, it's actually all right. And don't worry, all my work is team approved.
All right then, well, you can go and get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. It was a very specific type of pleasure to chat to her, and I just can't wait to hear this. Oh, so here's Lil C with an exclusive first performance of her new track. These
Strašne
bring you home. Take it away.
Is this deliberate, Alex? We do like our guests to come back, you know.
The queen of teams, here to break in your blockades.
Ponúkaj mi zabery. Čo to zabery?
Oh baby, can't you see I'm hungry? There's a place in me that's empty. I want that meat you're packing. Only you can fill that crack in me. I'm under siege, so come and free me. Ain't no disruption here. Boy, I got no agenda. Just want the team and me. No dirty foreign member. Don't stop no morning drill. There's holes in me that ain't been filled yet. I only scream this loud when you do your country proud. I ain't no vicar's daughter. Come and skirmish on my border.
No tak.
Before I get much older, tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So let them try and break our dream. We fight and love and diet. So what a Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy. I wanna see some action. So come and break my sanctions.
Tí kameramani by sa mohli trošku dohodnúť.
I've been this wild and free since Mama burdened me. She was only 53 but gave to save her family. There's no one judging me if I'm the one that's in your fantasy. Don't die alone, these babies gonna bring you home. I ain't no vicar's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and pull me wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions.
Well, if that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will. I'd like to thank Little C for doing that. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll finally be revealing the new segment of our show that we just know you're going to love. We'll be back right after this.
Okay,
And we're out.
To bolo zaujímavé.
Can I just say, thank you so much for letting me do this. It really means a lot to me, you know.
Yeah.
To be able to promote myself on such a mainstream platform like the news.
Well, don't worry about it. And you know what? Good luck for the future. Take care of yourself. This industry can be crazy sometimes. Watch out for that father of yours, won't you?
Oh, no. I manage myself. It's just, you know, for the public to have that certain perspective on me. You know what it's like.
Oh, right.
And Michael? Michael?
What about Billy Bob Jeanshaw? Is he?
Oh, my dad. He's such a sweetheart. We both had the same agents, you know, like it just made sense. Both of us for our image together.
Wow.
And Michael, I want to see the revenue share for the clothing line and get me a G&T before my meeting with the lube guys. If they say for your pleasure, I'm going to start needing it.
I hope you've got your head around these sound effects, Alex, because you'll need all 4 buttons for the next section. Each time they light up, listen to the actors and try and pick the most appropriate effect. The actors can't hear your choices, so let's not upset them when they watch it back later.
To nechaj na mne.
Well, the fact is, Jen, weren't enough flowers in my dressing room.
There were exactly 12, as it said in your rider.
Do I look like the sort of person who counts things? No, not anymore. I'm better than that now. I'll tell you what, just keep adding flowers until it feels like 12. Got it?
Absolutely, right away. 10 seconds.
OK, 10 sekúnd.
5, 4, 3.
Thanks for joining us for part 3. We've been teasing you about our new feature all night, and now the wait is finally over. I can reveal that every night on the show we'll be treated to an episode of an informative and hilarious new segment called The Notice Board. It stars some top talent and we're very excited about it. But before we see it, let's have a quick chat with the writer, director and phenomenon, may I say, Jeff Algebra, guys.
Actually, I've got the algebra. I go by Jeff DePlume now. How'd you like that?
Well, yeah, very fancy. I suppose you need a new name now that you're a successful artiste.
Well, exactly. I'm earning enough to pay taxes now.
Oh.
It's shit.
And how does Angela feel about all this?
Who?
Your wife.
Ah! Oh, God, no. No, she's long gone. No, she was holding me back. I'm with Norm now. We were married last month.
Norm de Plume.
Yeah.
And why did you write this? What was your inspiration?
Oh, well, I received a telephone call offering me 25 grand to write a pro-team sitcom. And I heard my father's voice. It said, Jeff, you listen here, boy. You make hay while the sun shines. You wring every penny you can get out of this. So I wheeled him down to the transition centre, got out my typewriter and started clacking.
Wow.
Utter shite.
And without further ado, let's give it up for the notice board.
Tak, čo sú to za zábery? Aha, sorač.
You had it last time. Don't stop now.
Good morning, Miss Craven.
Oh, morning, Ray.
Everything all right, Mrs. Craven? You look as worried as the vicar in closing time.
Oh, Ray, it's those young louts. They've vandalised my shop again.
No!
Yes! They've written all sorts of obscene language and crude pictures, and I know it's those damn youths.
I don't know. It could be the vicar at closing time.
I'm just worried they won't ever become productive members of the community. What if they never see the error of their ways and end up as social outcasts, such as shoplifters or bong rats?
Don't worry, Mrs. Craven. This is a very supportive community, and I'm sure that in time they will fit into this society like this key into this lock. See? Works like a charm.
What a lovely way to put it, Ray. And just like that, we can unlock their future.
Yes, yes. Wow! Look at all the letters in my collection today.
Oh, I think that one's addressed to me.
What? This one? Oh, so you're right. Here it is.
Ako by som strieľal Mr. Beana.
My granddaughter, Brenda, she says she got an A on her maths exam because one of her friends has been helping her. She was always a team player, was our Brenda.
What's up, losers?
Čo je?
Oh, no. It's Brad. He's the coolest guy in the village.
That's right. I just got here on my motorbike.
Oh, clear off, Brad. We don't want any of your ilk around here.
What? Rad dudes?
No, ruffians. Have you come to tag the notice board with your gang signs?
No way. I've actually come to pin my resume on that notice board. I'm looking to do some tutoring after school.
What? Did you say tutoring?
That's right. Maths is very important. Would you mind, Ray?
Not at all.
So you, a young person, have been spending your time helping others and not just urinating on churches or huffing glue?
Hey, I haven't huffed glue for months.
Well, blow me down!
You know what? We misjudged you based on how young and cool you are and not on your actions.
No doy.
So it wasn't you who vandalised my shop last night or called me a rancid old crone from the back of a chopper?
No way. It can't have been me. I was too busy helping my friend Brenda with her maths homework.
Could you speak up there? I thought for a minute there that you said Brenda.
I did, you daft old sow.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Oh, yes, what a wonderful surprise. I now respect you as a man.
Put her there, Ray. Oh, what the heck?
Čo?
Give us a hug.
Wow, čo sa deje? Wow. Čo?
Sorry to interrupt the first groundbreaking episode of the notice board, but we are receiving some breaking news.
Čo je?
I'm being told we're picking up reports from across the continent of what appear to be... Oh God, what appear to be nuclear explosions in 4 major cities. Initial estimates put the death toll into the millions. I'm being told we're experiencing power fluctuations as a result, so apologies for any interruption to this broadcast for you at home. And apparently we can head over to team headquarters for an emergency broadcast from Prime Minister Julia Salisbury any moment now. Yep, yes, let's go to that now.
Sledovanosť letí hore.
Good evening, citizens and leaders of the world. Minutes ago, operatives working for Advance detonated nuclear explosives simultaneously in 4 major cities across the world.
Hovadina.
We have similar devices in 58 other urban centres and will not hesitate to
We are hearing stories of power fluctuations and what could be minor earthquakes throughout the continent. Stand by.
Immediately. We will accept nothing less than your unconditional surrender.
Tak, ktoré vysielajú
Your
teraz?
territories will be taken under our control. We will install replacement governments to ensure that your citizens become part of the new future. Your borders are now our borders. Your people are our people. They will finally be fed and clothed and educated and healed. But for your privileged few, the moment that they feared is now upon them. Allow me to be crystal clear. If you fire a single shot at our territory or harm a single one of our citizens, we will not
vote for this. None of us did. This can't be. We are waiting further news and oh, what if they respond?
Complete acceptance of our terms by midnight tonight. Thank you.
I'm trying to think of what Jeremy would say if he were here now. He was always sceptical of Advance. But then I suppose he was always sceptical about everything. That's part of what made him so frustrating to work with. And so brilliant. I'm not going to lie, Jeremy, I really wish you were here now. You'd know what to say. You'd know how to bring everyone together. And I don't think you'd be angry. I think you'd see that anger was the engine that brought us here. I think you'd want us to stop, to look around us at the people and things we're so very lucky to have, and to realise what a privilege it is just to be alive. I think you'd want us to spare a thought for those with loved ones who are abroad tonight. And I think you'd be worried about retaliation, but you wouldn't show it. You'd remind us that this country and its people endure. You'd remind us that despite the way you hated how it sounds, we are a team. And I think you'd ask us to go to our loved ones and be with them tonight. But I don't have the words that you had, Jeremy. None of us do. My name's Megan Wolfe. Let's make tomorrow better.
And we're out.
OK. Nemám nejakú dojemnejšiu reklamu.
He'd have loved it.
Yeah, you would have done, you old bastard.
OK, no. Dobrož, tak budem pokračovať na budúce. Celkom sa to začína zaujímavo rozvíjať. Toto môžeme dať sem. Toto môžeme savenúť. Budem pokračovať na budúce. A možno už posledná časť a zistím, jak sa to celé skončí. Yep. Tak to je na dnes všetko. Sorry. Bye bye. A dobrú noc.